I think we're ready to get started. Welcome to our first ever VisionCast online auction and fundraiser for SA Lifeline Foundation. I need to remember to look up here. I am Tara McCausland, Executive Director of SA Lifeline. And again, welcome. I'm thrilled that you would choose to spend some time with us this evening. We're celebrating 15 years of recovering individuals and healing families from the effects of pornography, sexual addiction, and betrayal trauma. And as a team, we've been planning this and looking forward to it. Thank you for coming and linking arms with us. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means to us this evening. So first of all, we need to thank the people that power this organization. And some of you may recognize some of these faces, but this is our SA Lifeline Board of Directors. Of course, we have our founders, Stephen and Real Croshaw, who started this organization 15 years ago. And along with Kathy Whitaker, who's been with us really since the beginning. But more recently, we brought on other board members, Russell Youd and Christy Youd, as well as Brian Crockett, and Craig Iselson is also one who has been with us for a time. So we're grateful for these individuals who serve and give so much of their time and talents to recover individuals and heal families, which is our mission here at SA Lifeline. We also want to thank our advisory board. These people are less involved in the day-to-day, but these individuals are experts in their field and help provide good information for us so that we can provide the best resources and information for those who are seeking help from us. So Dr. Jill Manning, who has been a great ally for many years, Vanna Davis, Dr. Donald Hilton, Dan Gray, and Dr. Gerald Nebaker and Ann Tolley. And finally, we have our SA Lifeline staff that we have to shout out to. Of course, there's myself, but we also have Kahi Wingett, who is our SAL 12-Step Women's Director, Andrew Schmucker, our SAL 12-Step Men's Director, Jenny Brockbank, who is our SA Lifeline Executive Assistant, and our newest team member, Aubrey Dane, who is over publications and customer service. We are all so grateful to be working together in this common goal. We recognize the scope of this problem, and it takes a village, but we also want to share with you tonight the power of one, and that as you link arms with us, your contribution can make a big difference. So what are we in for tonight? If SA Lifeline is new to you, welcome. So we want to introduce a little bit about our mission and our philosophy of recovery, but we also want to celebrate some of 2023's successes and get a sneak peek at some of our 2024 goals, some of our new programs and resources that we're wanting to roll out. And as is a big part of what we do, we want to offer hope for healing and recovery. So that's what you can expect this evening. And again, we thank you for being here. All right. So before we get going into our 2023 goals, it's actually really helpful for me to review or introduce what we call the recovery puzzle. And this really is our unique approach to recovery. And while many groups may talk about elements of what you'll see here, we feel as a foundation, and it is our experience, that it is the combination of all of these elements applied that will bring healing and long-term recovery. And so anything that we do in SA Lifeline, anything that we provide, any resource, any event, will hit on some point in this recovery puzzle. And it's worth reviewing. If you're looking at this puzzle, you see at the center, we have a willing heart and these other pieces surrounding it. We call them the heart and mind pieces. These are the pieces that individuals must foster within themselves to have the heart set and the mindset to be in a place to recover and heal. And then the outer blue pieces, these are the action pieces. We sometimes refer to them as the 4 pillars. And they include quality education, SAL 12-step work, qualified therapy, and setting boundaries and bottom lines for safety. And again, this is our unique approach to recovery. And as we go along through this evening, you will see how we are trying to provide events and resources to help the people who are coming to us and looking for help them to apply these pieces. So things to note in 2023, it was a big year for us. I stepped into the role of executive director, so it's been a big year for me. But we made a lot of changes and we had a lot of exciting things happen. First off, many of you may be familiar with our podcast, and there's a backstory to this. We actually had talked about starting this podcast for years, and we recognized the value it could bring to quality education. And it could be a free resource that people could access from all over the world. But we also recognized that it was going to be a major undertaking. So we got brave this year. And in May of 2023, we started this podcast. I, along with Justin B., host this podcast, and it's been a great experience as we have interviewed guest experts like Jill Manning, like Dr. Anna Lemke, author of Dopamine Nation, Eddie Caparucci, Dan Drake, or if you listen today, Sherry Keffer. And we also hear stories from members of our SAL 12-step group who share their personal hope and experience with us, which is a big part of, again, spreading hope for healing generally. Those personal stories are so helpful for those who are just starting off on their healing journey. And we're really thrilled, actually, that in 2023, from May till December, we had 10,000 downloads of this podcast. And we're finding that people from across the nation and even internationally are finding this podcast. And so we hope that people will continue to take advantage of this resource that is quality education that we hope to continue to produce. And just for your interest, here are a couple of reviews from Apple Podcasts, things that people are saying about this. One person said, incredible insights here into a challenge that impacts most individuals, couples, and families. Thank you for providing this resource on a critical subject that a lot of people want to avoid talking about. And another person said, I love how equal attention is given to the addict and the betrayed. I also love the knowledge from experts. Thanks for this invaluable resource for sex addicts and for their loved ones. Thank you to those who listen. And if you want to work your 12-step, if we have any 12-step goers here, we invite you to rate and review this podcast. It helps others find it. Another accomplishment of the year was the new website that we produced. Anybody that builds websites know that this is an undertaking. And partly why we did this is we actually have a lot of people find us by searching online. So this website is their first introduction to us and what we offer. And we wanted to make this a more user-friendly website so that when people come, they had a type of breadcrumb path that would introduce them to resources, whether they are dealing with addiction or trauma, or if they're support persons. So this was a big project, and grateful for those who helped us with it. And a part of that was creating these new recovery videos. And if you've spent any time on salifeline.org, you know that we have a number of new videos. Here pictured, we have about 6 of them that we created. And what's exciting is that these videos were partially funded by individuals who donated last year. So your donations really do make a big difference. Obviously, we don't have time today to watch all of these videos, but we did want to highlight just one. And it's starring our very own Kahi Wingett, actually. She does a great job in this. This introduces betrayal trauma and the help that SA Lifeline can give. So I'd like to share that with you now.
When trust is broken, the pain and trauma can be overwhelming, but you don't have to face it alone. You deserve to feel safe in your relationship and confident in yourself. SA Lifeline is here to offer support and counsel as you navigate the effects of betrayal trauma. I know what it's like to be crying my eyes out behind a locked door, begging for relief and answers. I know what it feels like to be betrayed by the very person who's supposed to protect me, to lose trust in someone that I love, and to feel alone. Through SA Lifeline's recovery program, I've been able to find relief from my pain and answers to my questions and concerns. As I work my own recovery, I'm learning to reclaim my voice, my serenity, and my joy. SA Lifeline's proven program is simple. Join a 12-step meeting for betrayal trauma recovery. Work the steps with a sponsor, incorporate the recovery puzzle into your life, and experience long-term healing. I promise, relief from the pain is possible. Click on the link to sign up for a betrayal trauma recovery meeting. Don't continue living in fear and isolation. Join SA Lifeline today and discover hope, courage, and direction.
Shout out to our very own Kahi, who is an invaluable member of our team. So if you know SA Lifeline, you know that we are always looking for opportunities to build connection. And we have learned from experience that what this fellow said, Johan Hari, is true, that the opposite of addiction is connection. And really the first step to healing is often coming out of the darkness of isolation and into the light of connection. That's where so much of the healing begins. And so some of our accomplishments from 2023 involve these connecting environments and events. So one is our women's workshop. We actually renamed it from retreat to workshop to indicate that we're not just going to put our feet up and get massages, but that this would be an event to really work your recovery. And it is work, but we want always to provide applicable tools so that people can take them home and work their recovery successfully. This is one of our most popular events that we hold each year, and we wanted to just share some of the feedback that we received. One woman said, "This experience has been transformative and empowering. We certainly strive to empower those who suffer from betrayal trauma." And also, another participant said, "I learned I'm not alone. Please never stop this workshop. We don't intend to." As I said, it's one of our most popular events, and we're looking forward to our workshop in 2024, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a bit. Also, we have our annual conference, which was a highlight of 2023. This is an event that takes dozens and dozens and dozens of hours and a team of people to plan and execute, but we find it to be a great opportunity for people to come together if they can in person or even online. And this year we had really a unique opportunity to allow our online participants to interact more. And so that was made possible through an interactive app called Huba, which allowed for both our online and in-person participants to ask questions in real time of our presenters, to fill out feedback forms and surveys, also to engage on community boards, et cetera. So it was an expensive addition, but we felt like it was an important part of organizing that event more and making it more interactive. It also allowed us to do something really fantastic, which was in times past, we've only broadcast a handful of sessions, but because of this app, we were able to broadcast all of the breakout sessions, which was a powerful and important experience for those who were attending online. And we're grateful that in 2023, we had the largest attendance that we've ever had at an SA Lifeline conference. We had about 300 people register for this event. So moving on, we can't forget about SAL 12-Step. So SA Lifeline is the parent organization. SAL 12-Step is a subset of the 501c3 nonprofit that SA Lifeline is. But SAL 12-Step is one of the great resources that is being provided by a number of very committed volunteers. As you can see here, we currently have 52 meetings, men's meetings and women's meetings. We actually had a men's meeting started for betrayed men, which is a great step in the right direction. We know this is not a gender-specific problem, but in those 52 meetings, it requires 156 plus volunteers to run those weekly meetings. And then we're so grateful this year in 2023 that SAL 12-Step has created committees, and we have layers of leadership in SAL 12-Step to power that organization. So between all of these volunteers, we're looking at 186 plus volunteers to run and power our SAL 12-Step program. So shout out to those of you who are here with us that serve in leadership responsibilities in SAL 12-Step. We could not do it without you. And an overall look at volunteer hours. We're so grateful, again, for the men and women serving. So we split this up between SAL 12-Step and SA Lifeline to just give you an idea of where those volunteer hours are coming from. But we're totaling nearly 13,000 hours. This was an approximate estimate. I think we're under the bar here, but we have a lot of people who are giving generously of their time. And again, are so grateful for these individuals who are linking arms with us and really jumping into this cause and making a difference. So I know that numbers can be interesting, but what really fuels the fire of hope is to hear a personal experience of recovery. And so I've actually invited a couple people tonight to share their experience with SA Lifeline and our resources. And so I've invited Jonathan, who is a member of our SAL 12-step group, to share with us his experience. So I'm actually going to turn the time over to you, Jonathan, if you can unmute yourself and share a bit with us about your strength, hope, and experience.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for inviting me, Tara. I love talking about this, and I'm so glad you invited me. A couple years back, almost 3 years now, I've been doing the program. I love this program. 3 years ago, I disclosed to my wife that I was suffering with an addiction and that I wanted out and I needed help. Thank goodness. She's an angel. I talk about her a lot, and I won't spend the whole time talking about her, but she turned me over to a good brother who'd been in the program for 7 years, and he got me hooked up and we started working. And working the 12 steps has done some amazing things for me. I started off in a place where I didn't really see another option out of my addiction other than really taking my own life, which was probably the lowest point I've ever been. And coming to the program, I learned the essentials of that there's a higher power who loves me and cares about me. That shifted the entire rhetoric of how I lived my life. Nowadays, through the program, actually am able to do a lot of the same stuff I had hoped I could have gotten earlier on in my addiction for other brothers. It's been really cool to help people see that there's a way to live that is way more fulfilling, way more exciting, and can be totally free of pornography, masturbation, and all sorts of other like sexual issues. I am a sex addict, a lust addict, but I'm living in recovery. And that has made me a different level of person than I ever thought I could be. Partnering with my higher power has really changed my life. And this program has been the gateway to getting me there. I cannot stress enough how great it is to have a sponsor and to be accountable and to be rigorously honest and humble and doing the things the recovery puzzle kind of dictates I do because it's what I want for my life. So I'm really grateful for the program. It works because I'm working it. And I know it can for anybody else. So that's my experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathan. And Jonathan was actually a speaker at our 2023 conference, and your story is inspiring, Jonathan. So thank you for taking the time to share a bit with us this evening. All right. So we've touched on 2023, a year of change, and now moving into 2024. And I'm really excited actually about what we have on the docket. We hope to do more of what we did last year and to really focus on broadening our reach. We often talk about having the goal to become the AA of the sexual addiction world, so that when people have this issue, they know where to go for a quality 12-step experience. But as you know, quality education is a big part of what we do here at SA Lifeline. And this year, we are needing to revise and reprint a number of materials, and I just wanted to highlight two. The first here on the left is our SAL Recovering Individuals and Healing Families book. This was released back in the fall of 2021. We printed about 2,000 copies, and we're now down to about 200, maybe less. And so we are in the process of revising this book and wanting to reprint it, needing to reprint it, and looking at about 3,000 copies. This is a primary book that all of our SAL 12-step program goers use. And so this is a necessity. And again, we're looking at about $14,000 for that revision and reprinting of that book. And many of you also may be familiar with the book, What Can I Do About Me by Real Croshaw. This is often the gateway for many the trade partners into this program. And so we're working on a revision for this as well and needing to print this, and that will have a cost of about $4,000. So total reprinting cost just of these two publications. Again, there are others that will need to be reprinted, but we're looking at about $18,000, and we are inviting and seeking some financial support for these reprintings of really important materials. What we find is that quality education helps people understand the reality of sexual addiction and betrayal trauma, which is key, and also the nature of it. So, and then they can start finding the tools, but they need to understand the reality and the nature of these problems. And also that leads into one of our other goals, which is we would love to provide book scholarships. We've never done this in the past, but sometimes people come to us, and while our meetings are free, our SAL 12-step meetings are free, the books do cost a small amount. And so we have the goal to have 10 men's recovery bundles and 10 women's recovery bundles scholarships, totaling about $1,600. And so again, we're inviting others. If you're interested in helping contribute to this scholarship, we invite you to do that. We want to allow for people to get the resources that they need, and quality education and the books are a necessity. Also, we're wanting to reach a wider audience, and that will also include people who are not native English speakers. And so we have to start somewhere. So we want to start with Spanish outreach or Spanish speaker outreach. We are already in the process of creating a Spanish transcript for the Pathway to Recovery podcast. We have a wonderful volunteer working on that for us. We would love more if this is a skill that you have to help us with that. But there's that piece. And then we're also wanting to have a central place on salifeline.org where people that are Spanish speakers can come and find resources that can help them start their path to healing. And now this is something that I'm really excited to share with you. If you have been a part of our community for a while, you know that we have our conferences every year, but we've never had a central place where you can go to access all of the recordings of those conferences. So we've been working on this digital recovery library for months now, and it is finally mostly ready. And this is the one-stop shop to find all of our recordings of previous SA Lifeline conference presentations from top experts that we bring in from around the country who speak about, of course, sexual addiction and betrayal trauma. And it's organized by category with also our podcast episodes, and will include PDFs on various subjects. And we're going to continue to add to this digital recovery library as we have more events. So very excited about this. And the way that you access this is by becoming a monthly or annual donor. And so we are excited to, again, provide access at whatever rate you're able to give. And so at the baseline, you can access this digital recovery library for $12 a month, which is, the price of a pizza these days. And as you can see, this is 30 plus hours of SA Lifeline conference presentation content with top experts in the field, and these other like PDF downloads and a Pathway to Recovery podcast episodes organized by categories. We feel like this will be a great resource where you can go anytime and listen to top experts talk about how to heal from sexual addiction and betrayal trauma. Also, if you remember our recovery puzzle, we really appreciate the work of therapists, and particularly qualified therapy we see as a critical piece of the healing puzzle. Without it, there isn't healing. And so one of our important goals is to continue to build relationships with therapists and become allies. We, again, appreciate the work that they do. We also want to share with them our approach to healing, which we understand when SAL 12-step and qualified therapy is done together, people have the best long-term outcomes. And that's the message that we want to share. And so the goal would be, again, to build relationships with therapists and therapy practices in various ways, but we would like to train 6 practices this year on the symbiotic nature of the 12 steps and therapy in 2024. We've already done 1 presentation this year, and we hope to get at least 5 more. And we're hoping that this next piece will help us in that effort. This is another thing that we're really excited about. We, for many years, have been quite centralized in Utah. And while we have a number of people, in fact, many of you here tonight are probably not in Utah, we have people across the country and internationally using our resources, but we're finding that many people, especially support people, are not aware of our resources. And we would love to get boots on the ground, so to speak, in more communities across the nation and have someone make a face-to-face contact with faith leaders, with clinicians, with like-minded groups who can use our resources. And this ultimately, again, is all about building relationships. And we know that power of connection, that face-to-face connection. And so we're excited to hopefully roll out this ambassador program this year with people who are willing to volunteer in this capacity. But the startup cost for this program, we're thinking would be about $1,500. And that would include the training of ambassadors, the development of this program, also shipping materials to these individuals so that they have something on hand to hand that faith leader or that therapist. And we also want to, while we won't pay ambassadors, we don't want this to cost them money. So we would like to provide some money to reimburse them for travel. So again, this is something we're really excited about. This is an important part of our vision of broadening our reach. If you're interested in this ambassador program, reach out to me at tara@salifeline.org. I'd love to tell you more about it, especially if you're interested in being an ambassador. Finally, just wanted to share a couple of things about our workshop and another online workshop for men before we get to another personal share. But we're thrilled to have another women's workshop coming up on April 19th and 20th in Mapleton. We can handle about 45 women at this event, and this event will have a breathwork session and trauma-informed yoga. We'll have therapists there, group discussions, the opportunity to heal in nature. It'll be a wonderful event. We have about half of this workshop full at this point. So if you're interested, jump on and register. But what makes this event really special is that our men's groups, our SAL 12-step men's groups, have really pulled together and have contributed, I believe, about $1,500 to provide scholarships for women who would otherwise be unable to come to this event. So we are hoping to provide at least 3 full scholarships for women, which would include not just registration for this event, but also lodging and travel. So a big shout out and thanks to these generous groups, these men who are working their 12th step and have contributed to these women's scholarships. Finally, a new thing that we're doing this year is our SAL 12-step men's workshop. It's a free online workshop, and this is being planned and presented by leadership in our 12-step program. But we wanted to just highlight it and recognize that this is happening just February 24th, just a couple of weeks away. And we hope that you'll join us there. And we hope in years to come that this will be something that we will continue to do and make an annual event. Now, as we are wrapping up, I hope you all know about our online auction that's going on right now. We have had some wonderful individuals donate some things that they created specifically for this event. And these have been SAL 12-step goers as well as board members. But we wanted to highlight a few, and this is one actually that was donated by McKenna S. This is something that she created herself. It's a print of a canvas that she originally created. I'll let her tell you more about it, but I also invited McKenna to share a little bit about her experience with healing and how SA Lifeline resources have helped her in that process. And so McKenna, the floor is yours if you'd like to share for a few minutes.
Awesome. Thank you, Tara. I'm just really grateful to be here and happy to share some of my experience, strength, and hope with everyone. So yeah, I came into recovery back in October of 2019. That's when I found SAL and started coming there at Real's house. And it's funny because I came into recovery with this very, very naive thinking that, I was just going to do these 12 steps. And then by the 12th step, my life would just be so much better. And I would have the happiest marriage that I thought I would, was getting into. And I just thought everything would just work out so great. But now, 4 years later, I'm still working in recovery. And while my life has not turned out all perfect and rosy, which, no one's really ever does, I'm sure, in the way that we think it will. But it's honestly, I can say, been one of the greatest 4 years, the hardest 4 years, but the greatest 4 years of my life to give me the strength and healing and recovery that I found through working SAL 12-step, because I am not naive anymore, and I have found such strength in the relationships and the support that I found through going to these SAL groups. Some of the best and deepest relationships and friendships have come out of attending these groups, and these women that have helped me to find my voice and helped to empower me to set healthy boundaries and to connect on a deeper level with God, my higher power, and I cannot put a price tag on that. It's been such a life-changing experience and journey for me. And while my marriage has sadly ended in divorce, I feel at peace. I have a strength from my higher power and from the women in my recovery groups that help me get through these difficult times and help me to navigate on a daily basis as I strive to surrender to God and surrender to my sponsor and other ladies in my groups. It's just been really, really invaluable to be a part of this organization. And then Tara also wanted me to share just a little bit about this artwork that I was able to contribute. I love this quote. It's from a Mumford & Sons song. The song is actually called Awake My Soul. But the quote, where you invest your love, you invest your life, I feel is so relatable to recovery, especially even just the title of the song, because in recovery we awake our souls to a higher sense of living in a healthier and happier way. And just how we live our lives, where we're investing our time and our love, really is what creates our quality of life. And so that's why I thought that this would be a cool piece to share and to donate. And hopefully somebody likes it and will be able to apply it to their recovery too. But yeah, that's all I had. So thanks.
Thank you, McKenna. And one thing that I really appreciate about your story, McKenna, is that while we can't control outcomes, and that's often something that we have to learn to let go of in recovery work, we can't control our partner and if they will choose recovery or not. But we personally can always choose recovery. So whether that's with our spouse or not, there is healing ahead if we are willing to do the work. And you are a great example of that, McKenna. So thank you for your willingness to share your experience and your strength and hope that regardless, there are brighter days ahead if we'll follow the path, right? So, and yeah, go take a peek at the auction and bid on this really cool canvas that McKenna made. We wanted to just highlight a couple other donations. And if you are familiar with Rill's book, What Can I Do About Me? You'll recognize this picture. This picture it's titled Gently Up the Stream by Linda Curley Christensen. And this has meaning for me as the daughter of a recovering addict and a recovering betrayed spouse, because as you see the two boats in the picture, you recognize that we have to row our own boats. We can't row each other's boats, that we choose recovery. But this was donated by Alicia, and she wanted to share this. She said, as my husband and I have worked recovery, we've learned to live life gently, moving forward toward healing. I'm so grateful that through SA Lifeline, I have found a happiness that I never thought possible. SA Lifeline has saved my marriage and healed my life. So wanted to highlight that donation from Alicia, and so grateful for you, Alicia, in your strength, hope, and experience that you're sharing with others. And finally, this is our last highlight from our auction. This beautiful surrender box was made by a new SAL member, Melissa, and she is a woodworker, a talented one, as you can see. And if you know recovery, you know the power of surrender. And so this is a unique, one-of-a-kind box that she made. And the pen is also handmade. But she wanted to share that I'm finding true hope and true healing in SAL, and I'm thoroughly enjoying watching my husband find his hope and healing, but most miraculously, honest sobriety. So thank you, Melissa, for this beautiful surrender box. Again, go take a look at our auction and bid on this surrender box and use it. It will work miracles in your life if you will use it. So with all of that said, we gratefully accept any and all donations, as well as donations of your time. So when we talk about linking arms with us, we hope you know that you make a difference. As I have watched my parents work their recovery, and as I have been involved in this work, sometimes the scope of this problem can overwhelm us, and we feel that maybe all is lost, that too many people are suffering. The problem is too large to make any impact upon. But I'm learning the power of one, that when we choose to be the difference maker, that one choice creates ripples and will impact individuals, families, communities, generations. And so we invite you to link arms with us in some way tonight by, if you like the Digital Recovery Library, becoming a donating member there, or bidding on an auction item. Or if you really like that idea of being an ambassador, reach out to us. There are ways that you can make an impact and bless families and help in this mission of recovering individuals and healing families. We would love to stay in touch. So we also have a great newsletter that comes out every month. So if you're not already a part of our mailing list, we encourage you to go to salifeline.org and register for our newsletter. In our newsletter, you'll hear about new blog posts, about new podcast episodes, new resources that are coming available. So thank you for linking arms with us tonight. We're so grateful again for your time. And our last speakers for the evening, I just wanted to turn the time over for a few minutes to our founders, SA Lifeline founders, Stephen and Real Croshaw. So Stephen and Real, take it away.
Thank you, Tara, and thank you to each person. This vision cast, so well presented and informative. It's just been a great pleasure to be here and be part of this. So thank you to everyone also who has attended, and hopefully the information has been helpful in seeing the vision of SA Lifeline and SAL 12-Step. So we who are part of SA Lifeline Foundation and SAL 12-Step offer our experience with the intent of giving for recovery to those who share our challenge with sexual addiction and betrayal trauma, and to those who desire to better understand these difficult challenges in order to help others. Today, hundreds of people, a powerful and engaged army, are engaged in this work, the work of recovering individuals and healing families. We thank each person supporting this work. We also recognize all who are working their own recovery and want to thank them. We have found, as Alcoholics Anonymous tells us, strenuous work, one alcoholic with another, was vital to permanent recovery. This holds true for working recovery from both sexual addiction and betrayal trauma. The wisdom that comes from lived experience from those who have been where we now stand cannot be overvalued. And so McKenna and Jonathan, thank you for sharing your stories tonight. Your example to me is one of sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And it's where you stand in your recovery that helps give me hope for mine. That's the powerful part of what this whole organization is all about. There are so many who share their experiences and are willing to put themselves out there and help those who are really looking for hope. And so I appreciate the chance to be part of this. And so thank you to each one of you.
I have two short thoughts. I too feel to express deep gratitude for all the individuals who have been instrumental in the growth of SA Lifeline. Your support in service, financial means, and encouragement has blessed thousands of people. We don't know of any more important and challenging work than what we are engaged in. This is not only for individuals and families, but a critical need for our society at large. My second thought is of confidence. Confidence in those who are leading this work forward. Tara and the support staff that you've been introduced to, and the new SA Lifeline Board of Directors have our full confidence and support. As we go forward, some of you know this, we are taking this message of hope and recovery to New Zealand. Our confidence is based in our experience and knowledge that those leading this work will continue to strive to do God's work. the way it has been done for the past 15 years. That is the only way this work has moved forward. One step at a time with God's direction. It has never been about us. It has always been about what does God, the God of our understanding, want us to do next. And because of that, we have total confidence that this work will move forward in the right direction. We are very grateful for each one of you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the service and the encouragement that you give to others. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you. Well, again, we so appreciate your time this evening. We hope again that this has been valuable, and let's stay in touch. And the auction closes tonight at 11:30. So you've still got some time to look over those items. Thanks for being with us. Good night.